On this episode of our AFL Club by Club Draft Plan series, we're talking the Melbourne Demons. They don't have a first round pick this year. They have a couple of club-tied prospects. So we see how draft night might unfold for the red and blue and who else they could be looking at. Next part of our AFL Club by Club draft preview for 2025, we're chatting the Melbourne Demons.
We are.
Bit of an interesting one for them. No first round pick. Will potentially finish bottom 6. I think that trade that they did last year, I can't remember all of the parts.
Yep.
But trading their first rounder this year for a first rounder last year, which was tied to Essendon,
Yep.
I think has paid off. I think the talent they got in Xavier Lindsay and where he might have sit
Absolutely.
if he was a year younger and playing the footy he did last year.
Almost picked one this year.
That's what I'm saying. I think they've done well in that regard. I think there might have been some later picks swapping hands. I can't remember if those might have gone to Essendon, but they do have picks 24, 53 and 60. So it's only 649 points. I think it's the third fewest behind only Carlton and Collingwood.
Yep.
They do have some club tie talent, which we'll touch on in a sec, but they're in a window where they probably want a top pick this year as well. It's probably not the worst draft to miss out on, but we are seeing a good amount of depth emerging that when they are first on the clock with pick 24, which might be pick 30.
Yep.
When we actually get to draft night, they might have a pretty good talent to pick from with their first selection.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll touch on the club tie talent before we dive into that. Kalani White, key position swingman. He's also tied to the Gold Coast, but there is an assumption that he's going to go down the Melbourne route, which is where his dad, Jeff, is a legend of the club. And he will go somewhere in the second round, I think you'd say, at this point. Obviously, things can change between now and draft night. But, yeah, really good in the air. Got the opportunity to play for Casey and was a big part of their win 5 or 6 weeks ago against Essendon VFL, kicked some crucial late goals, got the ability to play back. And then Toby Cinema, a pacey athletic winger who runs all day and has a lethal left foot as well, will give them some outside dynamism. So those are the two players from a club tied point of view for Melbourne. But yeah, on the open pool, they'll certainly have the opportunity to take someone with that pick 24 because I'm not sure that either of those players will have been bid on.
No, I don't think so. I think White, second half of the draft, maybe. Cinema, potentially. A Cat B option for them. They both got to train with Melbourne over the preseason and got some pretty handy advice when Kalani's getting to learn off Max Gorn, which he'll likely do a bit next year. And Cinema, I've really liked some moments from him as that 60 metre out, 70 metre out player. He's being able to deliver some nice clean kicks into the forward 50. So, yeah, they've both been quite impressive. I remember Jace Taylor speaking on draft night last year about Kalani and saying that there's upside there that the club's looking forward to if he does become a Demon. But they were really happy with what he'd done over his last couple of years, and this year certainly hasn't hurt his draft stocks. From a list needs point of view, I think a key defender or a key forward. Their key position options have been lacking. I was thinking ruckman as well, but I don't think they'll go to the draft for a ruckman. No. I think it's more of a mature recruit type option for the Demons. So Kalani White certainly could fit either of those, but I don't really want to have him in this conversation just yet, and more looking at the open pool prospects they could have for a key defender or a key forward. And I think a pick 24, as we've mentioned, Xavier Taylor, Max Kondo-Giannis, probably the former there might be in that mix if it's a nice kind of draft night for the Demons at pick between pick 24, pick 30. Little undersized though, but I think he might be a nice fit.
A couple of later selections as well if they wanted to take best available talent at pick 24. Lockie Carpenter from Western Australia. I think Caleb Nankoro will get drafted, and whether Gold Coast match a bid or not remains to be seen because we know that they've got so many others that they have to match a bid on. Avery Thomas has impressed me in the last couple of games for the Allies, and I loved what he did at the start of the season for Tassie as well. So an athletic defender. I think I agree with you in terms of their list needs, but I would take someone of note down back, particularly with athleticism. So that athletic, third tall, intercepting type to replace what they've had so bankably for the last 4 or 5 years. So those are some names to throw out there. And then obviously Elliot Duffield is another name from South Australia we can't forget about.
Yeah, clean kicking. As you said, athletic defender with that kind of profile is nice. Key forwards. Again, that 24 to 30 range. I don't know if Aleem Heatherton might kind of slide that far. Mitch Marsh, Aiden Schubert, Archie Ludovic unlikely.
They'll be higher.
Obviously, Taran Armu was one that they have in their next generation academy, but not one that they can match a bid for in this year's draft. So there's a bit of an asterisk on that one, but no, they won't have priority access to a player like that. But yeah, I think a key forward, another one for them, and Liam Heatherton maybe. Like they do have Jefferson Van Rooyen, but yeah, I think just another one to kind of help support them.
And they do have Dan Turner as well.
Should be
more down back. I mean, and I think he'll complement whoever they draft in, if they draft in a tall defender, quite well. But I still reckon some support for him would go a long way.
Yeah, I think maybe they could go a medium forward. Like we have been talking about Charlie McKinnon, 190 centimeters. Jake Melksham is carrying that forward line at the moment at the age of 34. Bailey Fritsch is if he's on 28, is he a long-term option for them? Probably not. So they could look at Charlie McKinnon maybe with a later pick in the draft.